That's a rocket.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to Your Guest is as Good as Mine. My name is Keith Brooks, and I am honored to have the best guest we've ever had. Granted, this is the first episode, but I really, with the high caliber, I don't think we'll ever top it. The star of stage and screen, Andrea Laing. Andrea, how are you doing today? Your house looks holiday, decorative, and lovely.
It's so festive.
It's so festive, but how are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging out. Yeah, I'm great. Normal.
Awesome. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah for being great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for doing this. Look, I know you're very busy, so I'm going to dive right into it.
Am
Uh,
I? Yeah, I'm so busy. Let's
so
dive
busy.
in.
Andrea, you are the star of this hit film that's getting so much press right now, and it is Adult Swim's Yule Log, also known as, let me silence my phone because I'm unprofessional, also known as The Fireplace on HBO Max. You play the character of Zoe in
Mhm.
this zany romp of a horror movie. And Zoe is this complicated character who is grief stricken, also is the anchor for the film, is facing big choices, is the hero of the film. Such a complex character. How do you as an actress dive into that? How do you find yourself finding that character, and was this situation any different from ways that you've done it before?
Was the situation any different from any sort of piece I've worked on before?
Yeah, or the way you found the character or anything like that. What is your process?
Well, what's interesting about this, Keith, is look at me using your government name in a sentence. Like we're not good friends. This the audition, the script, the piece that they sent us for the audition
Yeah.
was nothing to do with like everything that unfolded in the film.
Yeah.
So the audition piece that I had, I actually auditioned for Zoe and Rosa
Okay.
and a callback for both. And, you know, Rosa plays a slave. And so that's a whole different dialect and vibe and feeling. And Zoe's a little bit more, she's like this day and age in a relationship with this guy that she's not entirely sure about. She's not as sure about the world. So it was easy to play that part. I've experienced that. I've been there before. Um, so to answer you, it was easy to, because Zoe, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but she seems very, she had to keep her footing on the ground so
Right.
everyone else, so everything else could kind of, the calamity could build up. So that was easy. I've been that character before. I've had concern, I've had anxiety, I've had that stress.
Well,
I
you,
am that, also that person. So but
well,
yeah,
you
the audition was way different than what unfolded in the script. And so what unfolded in the script was like, okay, that's way different.
well, you pull it off so amazingly. Like, you are the grounded sense throughout the entire film, and exactly like you said, you have the one foot on the ground that allows everything else to take that zany turn that it does. My question for you is, the vast majority of the first half of this film is from one angle. It's almost found footage, with your character's boyfriend who has the longest SD card in the world. How, and that's not euphemistic in any way. How
True.
did you guys shoot that? Was that all in one take? I mean, I guess there's those time moments where it slips through time that you could have used as cut points, but did you rehearse it as a play, or what happened? How did you guys execute that?
It all happened very fast.
Yeah.
Audition. I was in New York for the callback, and I found out about the callback like a day before I went to New York because I had to go to a wedding, and I was in my hotel. And I don't like to pack a lot of stuff with me when I have my callbacks. So I'm like relying on the sunlight and hoping that the room has enough like tall desks and chairs that I can stack up. Because I'm just like, listen, let's just shotgun this thing. And so I'm Rosa and Zoe in this callback. And what was the question? Wow.
So the beginning of the movie is it's all done from one angle. It seems
Yes,
like it's
I was
never
going
breaking.
somewhere with that.
Yeah.
Yes. Find out that I book it and we get the full script. I think I got the full script before Justin, even though we're with the same agency. And I want to say that we started rehearsing 4 days before we shot the first anything. But at the same time, Keith, we're reading the script and there's no like Zoe exits to or cut to this scene.
Yeah.
There's none of that. So Justin's like, oh, and he talks to Casper, and it's like, yeah, it's one static shot for, if you recall, a solid 20 minutes,
Yeah.
right? So, with that being said, it's like stage.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I love that that's why this film is also so very unique, that they added that kind of interpretation to the mix, because I haven't seen that in a while upon all the other crazy stuff that Casper added into it. But yeah, we had to, get that under our belts. I remember I invited Justin to my place and we just like stayed up, like going over these lines. We met in the parking lot with the rest of like the podcast crew because we're like, hey guys, by the way, this is nonstop. We need to get this together so we're not, and it's like you don't want to like overlap too much or
Yeah.
any of that stuff. Even when the deputy and sheriff show up, we gotta, it's just one continuous long thing. And I think that so we shot Justin and I on like the first day, and then
Okay.
we did the podcast people on another day, and then we
Gotcha.
did like all the other stuff on the third day. Um, but yeah, it did take some time, and it was also kind of a shocker because it's like I couldn't tell you the last time I did a scene that long. It was literally at least 12, 15 pages of dialogue.
But you pull it off so well. And and there's so many things that define this film as unique, and that's totally one of them. But the other part is the insanity that Chris Casper Kelly brings to this. I've worked with Casper before on his show, Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell.
Mhm.
My experience with him is he's very gregarious. He just like, to me, he made me feel that he was grateful I was there. I always
Oh
felt
yeah.
special on set, and he was so playful and fun. What was your experience working with him?
It's disturbing. It's like, why are you why are you being so nice?
Exactly. So
What's up with
nice.
you?
Yeah.
Are you gonna turn around and like yell at me? Is this like the setup for you to like yell at me? Because I've seen this happen in scripts before. I know where you're like nice and then you're mean the next day. No, and he like it was the best case scenario. He's lovely. He's absolutely lovely. He's open to like whatever you feel is happening or changing for the character.
Absolutely.
He's yeah, he's open to you exploring, and I think that that makes for like a good team because it's like you're not dismissing anything that he has to offer, and let's try it out. If it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. I will say, however, he went with a take I was not expecting because Zoe has to be a certain way. So everything, like I mentioned before, everything else can like fall into place too.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I was so funny in one of them takes where I did this or said this, and it wasn't used. And I was like, I get it though. I get it. But yeah, to answer you, he's just so lovely and so zany and so weird. And that's my kind of people. And so
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it was a dream. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a dream.
But you brought up something that I have a question for you about. I have so many questions for you. I don't know
Mhm.
where to start. So I did a deep dive research on you, you being from High Point, North
Oh,
Carolina,
wow.
attending private school, all of this stuff. But in a lot of your bios, you describe yourself as a comedic actor, and you have amazing comedic chops. Is is that where you find yourself more comfortable, or is that how you define yourself, or is that a relic of the past?
It's I think it's who I am, but TV and film never books me as such. Like
Yeah.
I think I've done one comedic thing on Killing It. as
Yeah,
that sleazy drug rep.
which you were incredible in.
Yeah, of course you watched it because you love me. So that's that's like the first and only time I've been really able to, oh, actually, Erica on the
Game.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's most recently. But um I would say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. My background is in, comedy for sure.
Well,
But
you have a rich, incredible background because not only that, but you also have experience as a host. You went to 30 Rock for some training thing, NBC thing for hosting. But beyond that, broadcast journalism, sociology, you worked at CNN. Is this right that you were a PA for So You Think You Can Dance?
yes, after college, I moved to Atlanta because I was gonna I wanted to stay fairly close to family or go to like LA. And I knew
Yeah.
CNN was here. And so it was only like a 5 hour drive from my hometown. And so I was like, great, I'll figure out a way. I'm gonna work at CNN. I
That's
just
awesome.
like, yeah, I was like, it's there. I'm gonna figure out a way. So I met I made a friend at MJQ,
Okay.
if you're familiar. I think they're getting rid of it soon. Of course, can't have too
Yeah.
much fun around here.
Yeah.
I met a friend at MJQ who had a friend at AJC, and he was like, he had to connect at Turner, and so I was naive. My resume was a piece of shit. I don't even know how I got in. I think I was just like charming somehow.
You are.
Or they're like, she's weird, let's get her trained, or like let's get her like acclimated to being a normal human in society. And so I was part of the Turner trainee program, the T3 trainee program. And so basically you get in and they throw you in different departments and you have to pretend like you know what you're doing. And so I did that for a very long time, and then I ended up working at Turner, marketing and promotions. And yeah, that's where I was for a while. And because Turner and CNN are like brother and sister, like
Yeah.
CNN, like everyone's like really buttoned up. And I did a couple stuff at CNN too. I worked like receptionist at like the fourth. I can't remember. It's been so long. And I took meeting minutes on something that I have no idea what I was doing. But when I was at Turner, I wanted so badly to work for Adult Swim because like I grew up with Adult Swim. I love it. It's weird. It's up my alley.
Yeah.
Squidbillies is my favorite show. Um, and there just were no positions available. So yeah, never was able to get in, but I visited Adult Swim often, and here I am working with them again.
Which is incredible. And not just that, but that I'm from Atlanta, you're in Atlanta, you are a shining star within the Atlanta community. Every time I see you on something, like even if I see your name attached to it, I'm like, well, that's a legitimate project if they got her. Like that's the mentality I think most people in Atlanta have. But this year seems like it's been one that's just you crushing it. Not only killing it, not only the game, this national Delta commercial that you've had that's everywhere. Now you're a movie star on HBO Max at a time when HBO Max isn't putting anything on there anymore. And it's just you. How does that feel to have all these press write-ups and all this stuff and this year of just you dominating and crushing it and showing the world how amazing you are?
Thank you for that. That was very sweet. I forgot about Delta. Um, it feels very, when people see that, the people that have known me for a while, they're like, oh, yeah, this is overdue for you. It's a long time
Yeah.
coming. And I forget that too, because like once you're in it and you're kind of like grinding and hustling, you forget how long you've been doing it for because it's just been a part of who you are.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. I'm so humbled, and I'm always so very honored to work on some really cool stuff. I really am, because I mean, how hard is this industry?
Yeah.
There's so many different variables involved. I think the thing that keeps me humbled though is that I'm never like, I need it. Like,
Mhm.
in fact, when I show up for an audition or a self tape, I'm so excited I get to play. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for like sending me this thing that I get to play with, because here's my interpretation of it. Take it or leave it. There's
Yeah.
just too many outside variables. So I'm just like, go in, have fun, let it go. And that's just it. And also like, have an outside life. Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I'm just like, when this came through, when I booked this one, granted, I didn't know the extent of what it was going to be like. Um, I resonated with the character so much. I love Adult Swim. I knew about Casper Kelly. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Like I don't need the whole picture. I just need to know that like this is something that is aligned with my soul and I'm happy about it. I don't need everything else because if it's going to happen, great. If not, like I don't want to strangle it. So yeah,
That's
thank you for that. It's just it's been fun and I'm just very like cool.
That's such a
Cool
good
about it.
perspective to have on it. And I think that resonates so well with what I know of you. I mean, I've got to work with you a couple of times. I've directed you like in some stuff, which made it sound
And
like it was pornography, but
I know it wasn't pornography,
it
guys.
wasn't pornography, guys. But the thing that I love about you, there's so many things. It's hard to narrow it down. But one of the
Yeah,
things,
let's just
y-
do one or two.
yeah, is that you are so like gung ho. Like you are so intelligent that anything somebody throws at you, you're just like, yeah, let's go with that. Cool, let's find it. And that sense of willingness to play. But you brought up this other thing about having an outside life. I want to know about what your outside life is. What do you do to decompress? I know you're an avid harmonica player, which I have to ask, what the fuck is that about? Um, so tell me about the harmonica and other things that you do. What else do you do?
I picked up a harmonica just years ago, and I thought it was just like so weird and zany. But it's like a self-taught thing. I find
Amazing.
songs where someone's playing a harmonica, and I just try to mimic it like a bird. You know, the birds where you're like singing to them and they like copy you.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I'm super into working out because I think it's good for the mind. I mean, it's great for the body, but it's like super therapeutic
Yeah.
and the stresses of the world and even like acting you need to get away and not be so mindy. So I try to work out like 3 or 4 times a week. I should fix my bike. I haven't biked in a while.
It's cold outside.
Yeah, yeah, it's cold outside, but today it's not.
No, today it's lovely.
That's a whole different show.
Yeah.
Today it's cold. Today it's 60
That's
degrees.
the weather show. That'll be a spin-off of this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have two cats. They're not currently with me. They're not dead. Sorry, that was morbid. They're with my former partner.
Mhm.
So yeah, I have like my outside life that involves my cats, working out, hanging out with friends, going to see movies, um, doing renovations to the house, like do it your own self stuff.
Right.
Yeah, just making sure that like I am not like completely tied to like waiting for the next thing to come along because the next thing will come along. You just got to believe that. And if anything, during your downtime, just like soak it in because I try to think about like as much downtime that there is. It's like maybe this is for a reason. Maybe you
Yeah.
should like revel in this down ass time because it's going to be crazy, you know?
Yeah. Plus, it allows you a chance to reset, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I also have a wide array of harmonicas. So next time you come over, I'm gonna have to hear this amazing talent of yours. Another question for you, because
Yeah.
what started this? How I know I've heard that you grew up with a bunch of animals. I heard a terrifying story about a bird.
I
That
told you I did. Oh God, you know too much, Keith.
I know way too much.
You know
But
too much.
how did it go from a young girl in North Carolina to this HBO Max superstar? What was there a moment? Was there a movie? Was there a day that you said, "Oh, I think I want to do that"? Did it happen previous to CNN or during that? Tell me your journey.
So I'll back it way up. I'm the youngest of three to immigrant parents from Jamaica.
Yeah.
And so there's no one before me that was like, hey, man, you should get into acting. No, in fact, your immigrant parents want you to have a secure lifestyle. They want you to have insurance, right?
Okay. Yeah.
They don't want you to join the circus.
No.
Circus is acting to foreign parents, they want you to. So when I had my job at Turner, they're like, oh, great, man, like, good to go. And so when I left, they're like, man, now I want to hear that. Like, what are you doing? Are you serious? So back away up, youngest of three. My parents worked a lot, and my siblings and I were left at home. And I remember like listening to like Madonna and Michael Jackson and Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and this is age revealer, on a tape player. And like like singing and dancing to them and just always like mimicking that or like having fun or expressing ourselves. So the zaniness was already in me. Couple that with going to private school and attending mass 3 times a week at like 7 and confessing your sins.
Ugh.
It's just very strange if you just think about that though, because
Yeah.
it's like you're going to confessional, but what are you confessing at 7? You know,
Do
I
you
could
even
probably make.
understand the concept of sin at that point? Plus, going into this private room,
Well,
like,
now, well, yeah, now you're being forced to understand the concept of sin because now you have to confess something. I could make a really inappropriately sexual joke about
good.
like
Yeah.
Reese being my ex-boyfriend or something. We won't go there.
No, no,
Instead,
there's no need
yeah.
here.
Yeah. So couple that with like going to mass 3 times a week and like being completely orderly, but coming home to like, the bobsled team is like, this is weird. This is so weird. Um, and then I think I always like had that in me, the need to like express myself in a very creative way. Moved to Atlanta after Turner. I left because I was working in a cubicle. I was not happy.
Mm.
Um, I was working a corporate job that I was not passionate about. And I knew it in my soul, I knew it, but like it was scary because it's like, I got to keep a roof over my head. I have to pay certain bills. It's the thing that everyone thinks about. It's like taking a chance on your passion and how is that going to pan out well? What is that going to look like? But I was just so unhappy. I met this girl, Kristen Beeman, because I think I was going to like Atlanta meetups because I was still like young and foolish, which you should be sometimes. You should be young and foolish and say,
And at Atlanta meetups, those are the three
and
things
the
you should
Atlanta
do.
meetups, and
Yeah.
you should say yes more often than no. And so that would be my advice to the younger me or someone that's looking for advice. And so I met Kristen at an Atlanta meetup, and she was a PA. And I was like, oh, what's that? And she was basically like, you are an asshole for someone and you do whatever they want all day long and you make no money and they talk down to you. And so I was like, oh, sign me up.
That's
I want that.
great. Yeah, that's
Please.
fantastic.
But she was working on different shows behind the scenes. And so I went and I checked it out with her and I was like, oh, this is great. So I was a PA with Kristen working on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? So You Think You Can Dance, NBC The Voice, Tori and Dean. If you remember Tori Spelling, she had a show with her
Yeah,
partner at the time. America's Got Talent. I was a PA on all of those,
that's
plus
amazing.
plus that. So I got the experience behind the lens before I hopped in front of the lens. And, I left Turner. I was making way less money, working long hours, doing whatever someone wanted for me. Oh, and also The Bachelor. I got to interview like contestants on The Bachelor, doing a lot of really cool stuff like behind the scenes. And then I just kept seeing that like I can try that out. Let me give that a shot. And so I did. And this was many years ago. And my first agency was J Purvis.
Yeah,
And that's kind of where it started for me.
that's amazing. That's a wonderful journey. Here's my question. I have so many to unpack from that. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go back to the very beginning of what you were talking about and that wonderful patois accent you were doing. I
What do you
see.
know about patois? Of course you do.
No, I mean, no, all that. Anyway, so again, back to these biographies. A lot of times, people they'll always say their race, and you'll normally see that the person's an African American actor or of Caribbean descent. You are very particular and specific to say that you are of Jamaican descent, or that you are a Jamaican actress. Why is that so important to you?
Oh, I'm fucking proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of it. Yeah, because representation, A. B, there's no one before me that is and that's doing this.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be a hell of a lot cooler if I had a Jamaican accent. Um,
I mean,
but
the one you did a minute ago was pretty solid, so I enjoyed it a
thanks,
lot.
thanks. Me now and hear that. I always use that in a stand up. I've done stand up a few times, and I always bring that up and like because my mom uses that phrase a lot,
Mhm.
and uh I'm sorry, I was having a moment where I was like, I'm just gonna tell the joke right now. And I'm like, no, Andrea, focus.
No, you can
Um,
tell the joke if you'd like.
no,
Is it
remind me later on the back
okay?
end, maybe.
Sounds good.
It's not a bad joke. I was just like, I was thinking about it in my head. I'm like, I don't think it's going to play out well. And then because you're so sweet and you care about me, you might laugh. And I don't feel like having a generic laugh at 12:30 today. Um, yeah, I'm just proud. It's really cool. Representation matters. And so I just think that that's really
Absolutely. And I think it's such a solid, strong thing to lead with. And I love how proud you are of it. I spent time in Jamaica myself, and it's such an amazing island that the struggles of are neglected so often, and it's such a rich, beautiful culture. So I'm all about that. So wonderful job there.
That's what I should have said. Thank you for representing for Jamaica. Like everything, that's absolutely what I meant to say. The
no,
struggle the
no,
people.
you're totally Irie. You did
Yeah.
wonderfully. So but here's the thing. So acting isn't the only pursuit that you have. You mentioned a second ago that you're a comedian, that you've done stand-up. You also do hosting. You hosted the HBO Short Film Awards. You also do book narrating. We have some of the books that you've narrated, whether they are The Revolution of Bertie Randolph, Poetic Justice, or A Song Below Water.
Look at this boy and the homework he's done.
Yeah, I mean, amazing stuff. And all of those, especially A Song Below Water, is fantastic. You could buy, I think it's like 28.62, but well worth the purchase. But you've also done other voiceover stuff. I know you've done the Easter Bunny, and then my personal favorite was the character's name Queenie in Curl Up and Die, which
Oh
is
my gosh. Have you
oh,
heard it?
I have. It's over the top and amazing, and I loved every second of it. It's about if you're unfamiliar, I saw it on YouTube. It's an animated short. I've only seen one of them. I don't know if there were multiple, but it's about a girl with magical hair, and Andrea plays a hairdresser, a salonist, a stylist.
Will you add in like a clip to this?
Yes, ma'am.
No! No! My only friend! Oh, just as I had planned.
What is there any difference in how you approach on-screen characters versus the voiceover characters?
It depends on the character, but usually like you mean like if they're animated as
Yeah.
opposed to like in general in any sort of audio platform, because that is your world that you're creating with your brain. You have to add more juice and life and texture and color to that.
Yeah.
So I kind of in a way make myself a little bit bigger and I play a little bit more. Now audiobooks are different. You still have to give the life to that. Audiobooks are very heavy
Yeah.
in every sense of the word. It's very time consuming. I think the most recent book I did had 22 characters.
Oof.
So, which by the way, you have to, because when you go into record live, you're with an audio engineer. So
Yes.
you need to know
When that character switches, when we're there.
right. It's live. So you need to know in advance in the future, oh, you're not just switching from saying a quote, period, to starting a new person, to starting the grandfather, to the judge, to the grandfather's son, to like it's just yeah. So I had to when I do audiobooks really quickly, I have to come home, read the fuck out of these chapters, go in, read professionally, go home, read the fuck out of these chapters, go in, perform. So it's like when I do audiobooks, it's like it's insane. And then like when you're in the studio, you're reading from a tablet. And if you're like, depending on how long your session is, it's like you start, at least for me, I like words disappear.
Yeah.
I like add words and the engineer will stop and be like, I'm sorry, what? You missed the, oh, I didn't say that. And like, I'm like looking and I'm like, sure didn't. Because you're
Miss
losing.
Lang, why are you doing this in a Jamaican accent? This is a British piece, Miss Lang.
Right. Right. But when I do, I love doing animated characters and I want to do more children's books because they're just so fun. But yeah, you just get to play around and add life and like be weird, you know?
And you're so good at just investing
Being
your
weird.
entirety. Well, that too, but
Sorry.
also investing all of you into these characters. Like it's so fun to watch you create. And I'm not the only person that notices this, because there are so many pieces that you've been involved with that have these great followings, whether it's Vampire Diaries, whether it's Legacies, whether it's, you're in the upcoming True Lies. I have just a list of things. I'm just going to list this off. So we have Honk for Jesus, Dope Sick.
Don't you make me list you, okay? You want to list me? I'm going to list you.
This is about you. Underground Railroad, Greenleaf, The Resident, NCIS, Step Up, Pitch Perfect 3, The Inspectors, which is a show about male crimes, Vampire Diaries, Legacies, Mr. Lockjaw, Finding Carter, Atlanta, and Joyful Noise, just to name a few. That's an amazing body of work. One of the things that amazes me most about you
is that I'm 95.
Yes,
sorry.
Look great for your age. You make these amazing relationships with these directors. You've worked with some phenomenal directors like Barry Jenkins, Casper Kelly, and you seem to come away with these wonderful working relationships. How important is it for you to find that relationship with the director?
I think it's important, and you're working very closely. What? Stop. I'm trying to find the most philosophical answer for you. Yeah. In the early 1800s, when I worked with this profound director, it's important, but like you want to meet eye to eye, but like I also just like, I don't know, we're a team. We're so cool right now. Barry's insanely dope. Like, and he's another disturbing one. He's as disturbing as Casper because he's just so down to earth. Like, What are you doing being down? Like, go away. Go be mean, or go say bad things about me at Video Village. Like, go away, Barry. No, he's amazing.
Genius. You have every right to be cruel to
everyone. You're just like, you're so cool. And all you do is talk about football on Twitter. Are you even a director, Barry? Like, are you a sports commentator? What are you doing? Same thing with Casper, just like super down to earth. What are you like? That's strange. You've worked with Barry too, right? We both worked on the Underground Railroad, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he was so gentle and nice.
It's so funny because it's like you're listening to things, but it's like there's so much overlap of the things that we've worked on.
I'm never as good in them as you are, because you're just phenomenal in everything you're in. So I have the regular Zoom, so we're running out of time. Okay. But what do you have coming up that the people can know about? What do you have that you're looking forward to? Any new projects coming out or that you're working on? What can you tell us?
So next year, which happens to be in like 3 days, I don't know when, but I called you about this. We won't tell that story. I worked on the film with David Yates, Pain Hustlers, and so that's coming out next year. But you know what? Shout out also to my incredible freaking agent, Taylor DeThomas. I mean, she's just so savage. She's also now partner at Alexander White Agency.
It's amazing.
Rightfully so. She's just a killer. So, it's not enough for me to show up and do my job. It's also like I have a good team.
But it's also, if they have a good product, it's easier for them to sell, and they have an amazing product in you. So, not to reduce you to a product. Oh, fuck, I'm going to get canceled.
No, I'm a product.
I'm uncomfortable now. But in a good way uncomfortable. That's the other thing. Everyone on the internet's in love with you. Everyone's talking about how you're the best final girl. You're gorgeous. You're being compared to Florence Pugh. That alone is fucking amazing.
Shut up, Keith.
I swear, how does that feel?
You're lying, and don't say that to me.
The single most Googled thing in December about you is Andrea Laing married?
I hate you.
Because people are just interested. I'm just telling you.
You're so annoying. I
Googled it a lot, but all right. So in the last few minutes that we have, I think you owe us a joke.
Oh my God. Okay. It's been a while. Let me gather this one up. Okay. So should I look straight to camera and deliver it?
Yeah.
So there was this, I think it was a worm. Snails slither. So there was like this snail one day who was slithering up to, hold on, let me think about it. Fuck, I haven't told jokes in a while. I want to tell this one. Okay, fuck it. I'm gonna wing it. There's a snail that was slithering, and he had like been slithering for many years. And he like he showed up at this guy's door, and this is so terrible. I'm gonna have to look it up when I'm done. He slithered up to this guy's door, and the guy opened up the door, and he looked at the snail, and the snail looked at him, and the guy looked at the snail. I'm saying that right. And the guy tossed the snail, and the snail said, "What the fuck did you do that for?" I'm sorry.
That was amazing. That was
No, it
amazing.
wasn't. It was
Ladies and
awful.
gentlemen, the phenomenal Andrea Laing. A round of applause for her.
God, can I come back as a guest and like tell my joke on your next one? Can I
Yeah,
tell a better one on your next one? I just like want to
absolutely.
come on like the last 5 minutes and like redeem myself.
Absolutely. Every 10 episodes, you're going to come back and be the guest.
I'm serious because I like
I'm
that's
serious.
bad.
That
It
was
gets better.
wonderful.
It's so much better because it used to make me laugh so hard.
I loved it. I loved it.
Thanks.
Thank you for your
Oh fuck, less than a minute. Two things. Love your shirt, Michelangelo and Raphael, and your poster, Donnie Darko. I'm a fan.
I'm a fan of you. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me, Keith. It was good to see you.
Good to see you. Bye, sweetheart. Bye.
Bye.